Yeah, that was cool. It was cool because I know it was like 2 heavy. Yeah. I think at the beginning of the count,
KeyshawnDavis seemed to reach a breaking point, provoking Tank and quickly escalating the situation.
Right, So I want to get other people's opinions too. Like, am I tripping, or what I really believe is that true? If other people believe that.
After Keyshawn started making remarks about Tank's trainers, family, and fighting style, Tank responded with some strong words of his own. Despite this, Keyshawn didn't back down.
you are real good. But there's levels to this game, Keyshawn.
Okay, we're gonna talk about levels. Okay, just know it's levels. It's certain levels in the amateur game. But when you go to pro, it's no more levels.
Now, Kenny Ellis has fired back at Keyshawn, and things have recently turned physical between them. KeyshawnDavis has been fired up, with all his focus and fiery words aimed at Tank. Today, Keyshawn posted a video online, practically begging, "Send me the contract," only to follow it up by saying, "I don't need you." The message came across as both confusing and a bit desperate. Watching him, you'd almost think he was seconds from tears, his voice shaking as he issued his challenge. It's clear that this fight is something he deeply wants, something he just can't let go of. But the way he keeps calling Tank out, day after day, interview after interview, it's starting to sound like he's obsessed. Last Friday, Keyshawn secured another win, this time against Gustavo Lemos. It was meant to be his big moment, a chance to prove he has what it takes to compete with the best. Since that night, Keyshawn has been riding high, calling his victory over Lemos something that will be remembered for the next decade. Let's be honest, beating Lemos isn't exactly a game-changing accomplishment. After all, Lemos wasn't coming off a strong performance. He lost to Richardson Hitchens in his previous bout, where he looked sluggish, outmatched, and barely managed to hang on. Keyshawn's so-called big win over Lemos isn't as impressive as he's making it seem. To get a shot at Tank, he'll need to do much more than beat fighters like Lemos. If Keyshawn truly wants to earn a big-money fight with Tank, he'll have to go through a much tougher lineup. Clip. He's got to earn his stripes by facing fighters who can truly test him, fighters with the skill, grit, and hunger to push him to his limits. Keyshawn can't keep chasing Tank without proving his worth in the ring. If he wants to build a resume worthy of challenging Tank, he'll need to take on fighters like Andy Cruz, Raymond Muratalla, Edwin de los Santos, and Abdullah Mason. Now, that's a lineup that would truly show what Keyshawn's made of. Clip, however, Keyshawn's win over Lemos doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't bring him any closer to a fight with Tank, who's known for taking on tougher, more dangerous opponents. Tank doesn't handpick easy fights or target fighters coming off losses. He wants excitement in the ring, and so do the fans. That's what has kept his popularity skyrocketing. Online, Keyshawn kept the heat on, directing his words straight at Tank. "Tell light-skinned Gervonta Davis to get out of his feelings and send me a contract. It's that simple," he said, calling out Tank with a sharp edge. This call-out only escalated tensions, and when they finally met face-to-face, things turned physical. The two ended up in a brawl, forcing security to step in and separate them. Clip. Keyshawn seems confident that if he provokes Tank enough, the fight will eventually happen. But the reality is, unless he starts facing tougher opponents and climbing the ranks, he'll be waiting for that contract for a long time. In his heart, Keyshawn claims he doesn't need Tank, but his actions suggest otherwise. His promoter, Top Rank, should be stepping in to give him real challenges in the ring, not feeding him easy fights that look good on paper but don't add real value to his record. Keyshawn has thrown around some big names, mentioning fighters like Lemos, Miguel Maggio, Jose Pedraza, and Naher Albright as examples of tough competition. Clip. In reality, none of these fighters are on Tank's level. They're solid boxers, sure, but they aren't the kind of competition that will elevate Keyshawn's career. If Keyshawn is serious about building a path to the big leagues, he should aim to face Andy Cruz, his old rival from their amateur days. Cruz has beaten Keyshawn 4 times, and those losses still sting. A rematch with Cruz would be huge, showing fans that Keyshawn is willing to risk everything for greatness. Keyshawn's comments about Tank's career come off as almost laughable. He claims Tank's resume is inflated, saying, "What kind of resume does he have? He hasn't fought anyone we didn't expect him to beat." But that's interesting, considering Tank himself has recently faced criticism for taking on weaker opponents. However, calling out Tank doesn't automatically make Keyshawn the big challenge. If this fight were to happen, Keyshawn would likely be one of Tank's easiest wins, which is what Tank has been saying, urging Keyshawn to stay in his lane. Keyshawn, meanwhile, seems to be trying to shortcut his way to the top, hoping that calling out Tank will land him the fight without earning it first. His frustrations are clear when he says, "I need the whole world to be against me in that fight, so I can show y'all how great I really am. I don't need anybody for that fight." It's easy to talk tough, but what Keyshawn really needs is to let his fists do the talking by taking on opponents who can bring out his best. That's how stars are made, not by calling out the biggest names without the wins to back it up. At 25, Keyshawn still has plenty of time to build his career the right way, but if he continues down this path, he risks becoming another fighter who promised big things but fell short. Right now, he's on the road to becoming a fake star, just another hyped-up contender without the resume to back up his confidence. Much like Edgar Berlanga, Keyshawn could end up as a fighter who talks a big game but fades when it matters most. Fans respect real courage, not empty bravado. Keyshawn's words may grab attention, but it's his actions that will determine if he's truly a contender. The fans want to see greatness, but they won't believe in someone who only talks about it. That's the exact criticism Kenny Ellis recently leveled at Keyshawn Davis. Ellis revealed the real reason behind Keyshawn's intense push for a title shot against the reigning king of the lightweight division. According to Ellis, Keyshawn's motivation for calling out Tank isn't about glory or proving himself as a world-class fighter. It's something much simpler: the money. Ellis believes that Keyshawn, who currently holds the number 3 spot in both the WBC and WBO rankings with an undefeated record of 12-0 and 8 knockouts, knows that facing Tank would be the biggest payday of his career. A fight against the WBA champion, Tank Davis, who has a record of 30-0 with 28 knockouts, would mean a massive paycheck for Keyshawn, one that could set him up for life by Norfolk standards. Win or lose, if Keyshawn steps into the ring with Tank, he'll become a wealthy man, and that's what's really driving him. That's why he's pushing so hard to call out Tank. Keyshawn has been all over, hyping himself up, claiming he's ready to face the best, saying he's the one to take down Tank. But Coach Ellis isn't buying it. He sees through the smoke and mirrors and believes Keyshawn's true goal isn't to prove his skills, but to secure the Tank payday, the life-changing purse that comes with fighting one of the sport's biggest names. Ellis also believes Keyshawn is trying to distract fans from the fact that he's been avoiding one particular fighter, Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz stands as a major roadblock in Keyshawn's path to Tank. Cruz isn't just another fighter, he's Keyshawn's old nemesis, the man who defeated him soundly in the 2020 Olympic finals, denying him the gold medal and leaving a scar on his record that's yet to heal. It wasn't a close fight. Cruz outclassed him, making it clear who the better boxer was that day. Cruz's win was so dominant that after the fight, Keyshawn seemed out of touch with reality, running around the ring as if he'd won, waving his hands in celebration.